All right, we will wait just a couple of seconds for everybody to make their way in. All right. Perfect. Okay, well, hello everyone and welcome to our September Purple Chair Chat. My name is Evelyn Duby and we have Rachel Moravik here with us today as well. We are both education and prevention specialists at Jana's campaign, and this Purple Chair Chat will be focusing on gender-based violence in the music industry. This is part 2 in our 2-part series highlighting this topic, and we're extremely excited to be continuing this very important conversation. So as always, Purple Chair Chats are live conversations instilling the knowledge, skills, and values necessary to prevent gender and relationship violence. We use these discussions to raise awareness, engage bystanders, promote healthy and respectful relationships, and overall just to encourage the development of new social norms. Before we get going, I do want to mention that we will be discussing some difficult topics regarding gender and relationship violence that could potentially be triggering for some. If you're in need of resources or services, but do not know who your local advocates are, please feel free to reach out to us and we will do our best to put you in contact with the right people. In fact, I'm going to put just a couple of resources here in the chat quickly for anyone who would like to check those out. Okay, so what are we focusing on today? Well, during last month's Purple Chair Chat, we talked about gender violence in music revolving around demeaning lyrics being written, sung, rapped by men, as well as the normalization of sexual, emotional, and psychological abuse against women in the music industry. We also discussed gender-based violence in music videos, male artist accountability, those sorts of things. So if you haven't already seen part 1 on this topic, I would encourage you to check that out as well, because it does have some valuable background information that might help this Purple Chair Chat make a little bit more sense. But today in our second Purple Chair Chat revolving around gender-based violence in music, we're going to be tackling it from the angle of focusing on the more brighter, female empowering side that we see coming more into light today through lyrics and songs and music videos, and what this really has the capability of meaning for the future of the music industry itself. So why is this so important? Well, as we touched on last time in our Purple Chair Chat, 1/3 of popular music contains references to degrading and demeaning lyrics. And we know many studies interviewed female songwriters and producers trying to gain some more insight into their lived experiences of women in music. 39% of those women said they had experienced stereotyping and sexualization, keeping in mind that that's just on a smaller scale of the women who were able to participate in these studies and have these interviews. So you can really imagine the true vastness of this issue within the grand scheme of things. Similarly, the relationship between lyrics and music videos has a strong correlation to people's positive or negative connotations towards something, right? We know this. We talked about people who listen to demeaning lyrics and the fact that they are more likely to start developing those ideologies for themselves the more they're exposed to it. So it really is crucial that women have space in the media. This space, which historically has been predominantly controlled by men, and it's really deprived them of their own unique independent voices being heard. So it's crucial for them to be able to speak up and speak their own diverse truths.
For sure, definitely. And a step that can be taken toward reducing gender-based violence in the music industry involves upsetting the sort of current male-dominating power dynamic or power structure that's currently there. So in other words, we need to empower female artists. So a little bit of a sad truth is that in the last 9 years, women only comprise a total of 21.6% of all artists, 12.6% of all songwriters, and 2.6% of all producers. And in 2020, actually, that dipped even lower, unfortunately. So what is women's empowerment? There's 5 factors that I'll discuss. Establishing self-worth is one, recognizing the right to determining and having choices, having access to opportunities and resources, controlling your own life within and outside of the home, possessing the ability to influence social and economic change. So fortunately, there are a lot of really, really cool initiatives going on right now that sort of embody these components of women's empowerment. There is She Is the Music, which was founded by 2 18-year-old sisters from Chicago, and it's a nonprofit organization increasing the number of women in music. There's Key Change, a movement that takes action to empower talented, underrepresented genders within training, mentoring, and network support. And Women in the Mix is really, really cool. Similarly to the way the Academy is increasing their diversity. Women in the Mix was launched by the Recording Academy 2019 actually. And the initiative asks that at least 2 women are considered in the selection process every time a music producer or engineer is hired. It also asks working producers to agree to take issues of gender diversity within music's technical fields into account when deciding who to mentor and hire for further development. So there's also Women's Audio Mission. So changing the face of sound by providing hands-on training, work experience, career counseling, job placement to over 4,000 women, and giving them the space that they need to thrive. So there's empowering music videos and not so empowering music videos. Some empowering music videos you might know. There's The Man by Taylor Swift, Run the World, Beyonce, Woman by Kesha, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper, and that's just a couple of them. But I do want to talk about one. For the sake of time, I don't want to examine all of these, but in 2020, there was one music video that was released that sort of broke the internet and sparked the most heated debate of is it empowerment or is it not that I think we've ever seen and will ever see for a while. And if you can't guess it, it's WAP. So I just want to quickly talk about this because it's a perfect example of the patriarchal response to female empowerment represented in music videos. So it kind of shows that it's fine if the women who are being sexual are in the background and men are rapping and singing and being sexual to them. And I'd also like to point out that I'm speaking in the context of adults watching this music video, not children. And some critics of the WAP music video say it promotes the over-sexualization of women. But hypersexualization is not the woman's problem. It's the lens by which we look at them, right? So telling women that they can't express their sexuality simply because it might lead to male objectification is harmful, first of all, and similar to sexist dress codes where girls who go to school in tank tops, for example, or shorts are sent home because their shoulders or legs are too distracting for the boys. It's the same vein. So I also want to mention the importance of female rappers supporting other female rappers in the industry. Because it's so common for Black women rappers to be pitted against each other, right? For like petty drama. And this video shows women coming together to celebrate who they are as sexually liberated women and showcasing their talent and having fun. So women should be able to have fun when they're talking about sex, just like men are.
Exactly. And music has long been this effective way to communicate with masses. Lyrics specifically have played a huge role in delivering said communication. And I really love what you discussed, Rachel, with the music video for WAP. And so I kind of just want to talk briefly on how the lyrics play a large role in female artist empowerment as well. So through these very self-assured lyrics, Cardi and Megan are owning their bodies and their sexuality, but then also shining light on other prominent female icons and musicians as well. We see gender stereotypes being dismantled from the very first verse when Cardi says, "I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you how I got this ring." So she's creating no space for that stereotypical, submissive, stay-at-home wife figure. And critiques of these lyrics, as well as critiques of the music video, show once again, like you said, that sex is really only this taboo expression in music when women are the ones who are exploring it, right? Sex is not this new theme in music. In fact, many of America's greatest hits were tracks from Lynyrd Skynyrd, George Michael, Pearl Jam, and other male artists who explore sex and drugs in their lyrics pretty frequently. So why do we only hear criticism like this and criticism to this degree when it's female artists who are the ones doing it? Because these lyrics at the end of the day are advocating for freedom, right? Freedom of choice and freedom of expression, reclaiming our bodies. And we also see artists like Pink who are not shy in showing off their uniqueness and identity, teaching her child not to pay mind to others who try and bring you down or make fun of you because you're not feminine enough or you're not girly enough. And she reflects those sentiments constantly in her edgy, modern, progressive lyrics. And again, Taylor Swift's song, "The Man," like you mentioned as well, Rachel, is an amazing song. If you haven't already heard it, go check it out. But in it, she says, "I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I'd get there quicker if I was a man." So just these outspoken, real lyrics about how she feels as a prominent woman within music and her reflecting that as well in her lyrics. So the bottom line is that all women deserve to express themselves how they choose, without criticism from others, and that includes through lyrics. With the liberation and power showcased in these songs and these lyrics specifically, it's a prime example of progressive womanhood and modern femininity. But even taking a break from empowering lyrics and the power they hold from the standpoint of these extremely famous women, let's talk about it on a smaller scale as well. In a Utah State University study, domestic abuse survivors found strength through writing their own songs, through composing their own lyrics. These women were able to address their problems, replace their pain with pride, gratitude, inspiration, and kind of begin that healing process. So it really is all women that are able to take back their lives and their confidence through lyrics on both these large and small scales. I think a main takeaway with this discussion on gender-based violence in lyrics and in music is that freedom of speech in the context of art is and should always be protected. And that goes for both women and men, right? Men should be able to express themselves with lyrics as well. But there is a line between expression and then being derogatory, sexist, misogynistic, and that's a line that we see being blurred quite frequently. Because at the end of the day, women who are owning their experiences in today's music, regardless of what they say and do, they all play an essential role in the overall destigmatization of female sexuality and having autonomy of our own bodies.
Absolutely. So what are the implications of all of this? Like any advancement in this world, everything starts with representation. So this can be done by actively putting women in the room with the right people, listening to and implementing their ideas, working to treat women as their equal in every instance, and most importantly, ensuring equal pay and titles to their male counterparts. So just wrapping up, we always appreciate you joining these Purple Chair Chats and love being able to have live conversations, helping to instill the knowledge, skills, and values necessary to prevent gender violence and relationship violence. So again, if you need any resources or services and you don't know who your local advocates are, please feel free to reach out to us and we will do our best to put you in contact with the right people. All right, thanks everybody. See you next time.